talk about drug development and FDA regs. I'm going to start off with a little bit about history and an introduction to FDA, and then we'll take it from there. What are we going to learn here? Certainly FDA's role in drug development and where they interact with us. The logic behind the drug development process. We will cover an overview of the IND, that stands for Investigational New Drug Application, and the NDA, that's the New Drug Application, that's the marketing application. The IND is the investigational application where you do your studies under. NDA is the marketing application, asking FDA for permission to market in the United States. Now, let me just stop here and explain something. I don't know the backgrounds of the people that are on this webinar with me, so therefore I tend to take the approach that everyone has very little experience, and I go kind of in depth on explaining things along the way. I feel I'm safer that way. We also are going to talk about the basics for the clinical trial process, describe the FDA review process for these submissions, the INDs and the NDAs. And, of course, along the way, we're going to talk about FDA's three major regulations: GCP, good clinical practices; GLP, good laboratory practices; and GMP, good manufacturing practices. So those are the things that we will cover today during the session or the time that we're together. So let's talk about the history and the law a little bit. The Food and Drug Administration is our government's primary consumer protection agency. FDA today is about 9,000 strong, and they are still hiring people. FDA is one of the larger agencies in the United States government. FDA's budget is extremely large. Recently, their budget year runs October 1st to September 30th, so their new budget's upcoming very shortly. They've been granted about $2.5 billion. In addition to the $2.5 billion, there's also a thing which we'll talk about called user fees, where you in industry pay FDA for services they perform. For example, if you now would submit an NDA, a new drug application to FDA, before FDA would look at the document, they would have to receive from you the amount of $2.1 million. And that $2.1 million just covers their work on reviewing this particular submission. So you can see FDA is an agency that has a tremendous impact on us in the United States. 25 cents out of every dollar you spend goes towards a product that FDA regulates. Not only are they an agency that influence us to a great degree, they're also an extremely powerful agency, as you shall shortly find out. In 1997, FDA got a new mission statement. The first time in their history, they have a mission statement where there's not one word about enforcement. And the mission statement is in two parts. The first part, FDA must promote the public health by promptly and efficiently reviewing clinical research and taking appropriate action on marketing of regulated products in a timely manner. So, when reviewing these applications, FDA now has granted from our Congress targets for review times. It is the Congress that granted FDA these user fees, such as the $2.1 million I just mentioned. And they have set up separate timelines for FDA to meet. These are not regulatory timelines. If you look in the Code of Federal Regulations, you will see that FDA has 180 days to look at an NDA. Well, for years, FDA never did meet those requirements. So Congress has set up these separate timelines for FDA to meet. Right now, the timelines from Congress to FDA for the user fees are as follows. If you have a standard product, one that's let me say a Me Too product, the target for review of an NDA would be 10 months. If you have a fast-track product, a product that treats a serious and life-threatening disease or condition with an unmet medical need. And what do I mean by unmet medical need, or what does FDA mean by that? They mean the following. They mean that this is a product either there's no therapy out there, or what's out there is really inferior compared to what you have. So if you meet those requirements, the review time would be 6 months. So in the first case here, they're trying to be more efficient in their review of these submissions.